For most people, evolution feels like something from the distant past, like dinosaurs turning into birds, fish crawling onto land, life slowly changing over millions of years. The kind of process we imagine taking so long that no human could ever witness it. Makes sense as we see debate after debate over whether it's real or not. But we've stumbled across some pretty insane discoveries recently, proving that evolution isn't just ancient history. It's happening right now, sometimes in just a few decades. And in some cases, we're the reason why. You want proof to show your friends that evolution exists? This is it. Here you go. Our first example starts back in the 1970s. Researchers moved a few Italian wall lizards from one island to another nearby island. Nothing dramatic. Just a new environment with slightly different food and conditions. Then the scientists left. Decades later, another team returned to study the population. And what they found was strange. The lizards hadn't just survived, they had changed. Their heads had grown larger and stronger, giving them a much more powerful bite. Why? Because their new island had far fewer insects than their original home. So over time, these lizards began eating more plants instead. But plants are harder to digest. So something incredible happened. The lizards developed a brand new digestive structure inside their intestines, something their ancestors didn't have, a biological feature that helped them break down plant material more efficiently. In other words, in just a few decades, an entire population had begun adapting to a completely different diet, not over millions of years, within a single human lifetime. That's evolution happening in real time. But animals changing their diet isn't the only place scientists are seeing evolution speed up. In parts of Africa, something much more dramatic has been happening with elephants. For thousands of years, elephants have grown large ivory tusks. They use them to dig for water, strip bark from trees, and defend themselves. But over the last few decades, that trait has started disappearing. Not because elephants no longer need tusks, because humans made them dangerous to have. During intense waves of poaching in the late 20th century, elephants with large tusks were the ones hunters targeted first, meaning the elephants that survived were often the rare individuals born without tusks at all. Normally, tuskless elephants were extremely uncommon. But after generations of heavy poaching, scientists began noticing something shocking. In some populations, more than half of all female elephants are now born without tusks. In other words, humans didn't just threaten elephants. We accidentally started rewriting their genetics. The elephants that survive today are physically different from the ones that lived just a few decades ago. Evolution forced by human pressure. And this isn't the only place where animals are changing right in front of us. Now, the most incredible example of all is that evolution doesn't just move forward. In England during the Industrial Revolution, pollution from factories turned entire forests black with soot. Before this, the peppered moth was mostly light-colored, perfectly camouflaged against the bark. But once the trees darkened, those pale moths became easy targets for birds. Only a rare dark-colored variant could hide. So within just a few decades, the population transformed. Light moths almost vanished. Dark moths took over. It was one of the clearest demonstrations of natural selection ever recorded. But the truly mind-blowing part came later. In the mid-20th century, governments began passing clean air laws. Pollution dropped. Soot slowly washed away. Suddenly, the advantage flipped. Now the dark moths were the visible ones and were the ones getting eaten. And once again, evolution responded. Generation by generation, the population shifted back. Not because moths decided to change, because the environment changed. And survival did the rest. Scientists didn't reconstruct this from fossils. They didn't infer it from ancient DNA. They watched it happen, all within about a century. Evolution, not as a slow march towards some final form, but as a living system, constantly adjusting, constantly responding. Proof that nature isn't static. Here are some quick fire extras before we finish. In the North Atlantic, humans kept catching the biggest cod first. So within decades, cod evolved to grow smaller and reproduce earlier. In Australia, cane toads at the edge of their invasion evolved longer legs and greater stamina. The fastest movers reached new territory first and passed those traits on. After major hurricanes in the Caribbean, lizards with stronger grips were the ones that survived. In some places, a single storm shifted the traits of the entire population. And these are just the examples we've noticed. Animals evolving because we hunt them, catch them, move them, pollute their world, or simply exist near them. Evolution isn't ancient history. It isn't finished. And it isn't happening too slowly to see. It's happening right now. Every city we build, every forest we cut, every ocean we fish, every climate shift we trigger is quietly reshaping life on this planet. And long after we're gone, the creatures that remain won't just live in the world we changed. They'll be shaped by it, written into their bodies.